Hi everyone, my name is Justin Odisho, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to use my new VHS/VCR and old TV footage pack. You can see the VHS aesthetic and style in many popular videos today, and I think it's always going to hold its place as a physical, analog form of recording that we used to do for a few decades, much like film has for certain aesthetic and nostalgic qualities. So although I've created many free tutorials on how to create similar effects like this in Photoshop and Premiere Pro, what I've done is actually gotten a VCR camera, cassette tapes, VHS tapes, VHS players, and old TVs, and I sat down and tried to take all those textures and footages and noises that I could and combine them all together in this one collected footage pack for you to use as effects, transitions, textures, and more in your projects. So although I'm going to be demonstrating the contents of the pack in Premiere Pro, just because that's what I use, these are just like stock footages, so you can use them in any editing program. And I've also included a bunch of still frames and a few sound effects as well. So this will work for Photoshop, graphic design projects, or whatever else you use. Just to give you a quick overview of what's inside the pack, we have several TV noise and static textures, some cool TV on and off flashes. So these are great to be used as transitions. And then moving forward from the TV effects, we have some VCR footages. So from the screen to rewinding tapes and cassettes to the menus and fast forward overlays. I've tried to make sure these are all different from each other, so you have a unique variety of things to choose from. And then moving on from the VCR stuff, we have a bunch of VHS screens, so your classic blue screens. I've included basically every command that you might want to use, like rewind, stop, fast forward, eject, no tape, channels up and down, and then just the blue screen itself if you want to use that as a texture. It does have a little bit of texture to it. It's not just a solid color. And then we have a bunch of VHS noise and grain. So from a bunch of distortions and glitches to corrupted tape noises that I made, and then also just standard noise. I've got about a 10-minute variety of noise here for you to pick and choose and cut from which parts you want. And then we have a collection of sound effects from inserting tape to ejecting to fast forwarding, and then just TV static and white noise to go along with that. Along with that, I've gone through and created a bunch of still frames of what I think are the best looking parts. So you have a bunch of these still frames if you want to use them in Photoshop, graphic design projects, or even within your video projects in different ways. So a few notes, tips, and ideas on how to use these, like I've done in the trailer here. You'll notice that a lot of these come in the standard 4x3 with the black letterboxing on the side, because that's how VHS and VCR was recorded. Nowadays, the HD 1080p widescreen look is more of the standard. So whether you want to keep it like this for nostalgia purposes or stretch it out in whatever editing program you're in, you should be able to scale and stretch it. So I like to uncheck the uniform scale button or whatever program you're in, stretch it horizontally but not vertically, and you can easily make it fill a wide screen if you don't want the black bars. Or you always have the option of just scaling it up and cropping the top and bottom out. This right here is the project file for the trailer that I've made, and in it I did a lot of different mixing and matching just to show you some different flexibility that you can get with the clips. So for example, here we have this clip, which is just the standard channel flipping up and down, which I stretched out so that it filled the wide screen, and I set it to overlay or hard light or any of the blending modes that should be available in your editing software of choice. So I mixed and matched this with just the VHS noise underneath, creating a brand new unique texture. So you can always stack these different effects together, blend them together with opacities, blending modes, or masks, or different effects, whatever you want. Another thing you can do is actually add effects onto these. So this channel flipping up and down layer, if I wanted to even make this look a little bit more distorted, I could add a wave warp onto it like so, and I could add its own distortion to the text to create different effects if I want. So these are stock footages, clips just like any other clips, and you can mix, match, blend, and distort them like any other clips, but they're made to be mixed in that way. Another thing you can do is also adjust the color of them. So although this is the standard VHS blue, if I wanted, I could always desaturate it completely or oversaturate it with whatever your editing software's color tools are. You can also use them as transitions if you place them properly. So for example, I have those TV flashes. So I've done nothing to create this transition other than drag that TV flash clip, which you saw in the pack here. I have 5 different ones. I'll cut very quickly. All I've done is place one of those in between 2 clips, and when played in real time, it appears to be a flash transition, a nice unique one at that. You can also see how these work as great backdrops for text and title screens if you want to fill it in with some interesting background, or perhaps transition slides in between clips to tie together your whole video with a certain aesthetic. And of course, you can mix these with actual video clips and footages that you've shot to give them that VHS texture and look like they were shot with a VCR camera. So if I was to drag some of those glitches and tape noises and set that to a blending mode, something like light in or screen, we can get all these VHS noises over top of our regular footage, and then mix and match different color grading or whatever we want. And of course, in the pack, there's all these other VCR menus and cameras, things that say no cassette or record or whatever. And you could place these over top in much the same way and set them to something like light in or screen, and you can get those same menu overlays on whatever footages you have. So again, throughout this pack, I've tried to include a variety of different textures, from TV static and noises to flashes to VCR menus and camera and noises, all the way to VHS functions and blue screens and different glitches and textures as well as sound effects to include in there, and a bunch of unique and cool still frames that you can drag and drop in other projects as well. So hopefully this should be a great creative asset if you're looking to save time on putting together all of these. I've done it all for you. So the full pack is available now on my website, justinodisho.com/shop. Thank you so much for watching and all your support.